From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. It's Wednesday, June 25th, and here are today's headlines. Copley Hospital in Morrisville is closing its birthing center after a vote by board members last week. The hospital board cited unsustainable long-term costs and declining birth rates in its decision that leaves Lamoille County without a labor and delivery unit. For months, community members have shared concerns about the potential closure of the birthing center, where 150 to 200 babies are delivered each year. April Vanderveer is a midwife at the hospital.
Even the home birth midwives are like, we're not going to do home births here because there's no safe hospital to transfer to. Lamoille County is truly going to become a birth desert, an obstetrical care desert.
The hospital has said they lose over $15,000 on each birth. In a statement, the Agency of Human Services said the hospital's decision is in the interest of maintaining financial sustainability for the state's healthcare system. As part of the Trump tax bill, U.S. senators recently proposed capping taxes paid by hospitals, nursing homes, and home health providers. In Vermont, that money, called the provider tax, pays for a chunk of Medicaid expenses and is used to get matching dollars from the federal government. Right now, Vermont is allowed to tax up to 6% of revenue that providers get from seeing patients. The proposal from Congress would set a cap of 3.5% over the next several years. Mike Fisher is the state's chief healthcare advocate, and he says that would have a big impact in Vermont.
Provider taxes pay into the general fund, and the general fund contributes to Medicaid and gets matched. And going down to 3.5% creates a really big hole in our Medicaid budget.
According to the Vermont Agency of Human Services, if not backfilled with other state funding, the proposal would require over $200 million a year in Medicaid cuts. Gardner's Supply, one of Vermont's oldest employee-owned companies, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last week, citing the retail environment, software issues, and ongoing stock option obligations to employees. The Burlington-based supply company was founded in 1983 as a catalog mail-order company, but has since grown into a multi-million-dollar operation that spans 3 states. 7 Days reports that the company's bankruptcy filing details various debts, including a lien on the company's headquarters and millions owed to at least 30 creditors. Gardner's Supply is seeking to sell its assets to competitor Gardens Alive in a tentative $9 million deal. In the meantime, the company has a debt restructuring plan to continue operations, preserve its value, and make payroll until being sold. In other economic news, Vermont's unemployment rate remained steady for the month of May. The unemployment rate last month was 2.6. That's the same as the month of April. The Vermont Department of Labor said about 900 jobs were added to the state's economy over the past month. Addison and Chittenden counties shared the lowest unemployment rate in the state last month, with 1.8%, while Orleans County has the highest unemployment rate at 2.9%. And a pioneer in Vermont's fight for gay marriage has died. Stan Baker passed away on Monday night at the age of 79, according to reporting by WCAX. Baker and his partner Peter Harrigan were one of 3 same-sex couples who sued the state for denying their right to get married in 1999. The case eventually made its way to Vermont's Supreme Court, which unanimously ruled the state had to extend the same rights and protections offered to straight couples to same-sex couples. Legal experts say the decision played an essential role in the nationwide expansion of marriage equality. And coming up, residents in northern New York and neighboring Vermont were on high alert 10 years ago after 2 convicts made a daring escape from the Dannemora prison. North Country Public Radio brings us the voices of people who recall the harrowing 3-week manhunt that followed after this.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency, where support comes from VITA, supporting business growth and innovation in the Green Mountain State. From agriculture to manufacturing, energy to food production, find solutions that turn your business dreams into reality. Visit VEDA.org and see how VITA can help make it happen.
10 years ago, 2 dangerous convicts made a daring escape from the New York State Prison in Dannemora in northern New York. It's not far from the Vermont border. The sprawling 3-week manhunt that followed captivated the country, and sowed a tense fear around the North Country. Amy Feiereisel from North Country Public Radio reports on what that time was like for everyday people whose lives intersected with the Dannemora manhunt.
On Friday night, June 5th, Leslie Lewis spent the night out with a friend in Dannemora. Just after midnight, he walked home to his place on Bout Street.
And that's when I encountered them. They were crossing the road from an abandoned style house that's across the street to our house.
Lewis watched two men enter his backyard, which he found very strange. So he says he went out to confront them.
One of them already got out of the yard. The other one was just standing around the backside of a little pop-up camper. Basically, I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you here? He's like, sorry, wrong direction, and basically took off.
Lewis says it was a weird encounter, but he didn't make much of it. But by the next morning, the news was out. Two convicted murderers, Richard Matt and David Sweat, had escaped by tunneling out of the prison, into the town's sewer system, and out a manhole on Bout Street, where Lewis lived.
These guys were just wearing normal civilian clothes, so I'd never thought anything about it. I didn't know anything was going on until the next morning when I got woken up by the cops.
Lewis told them what he'd seen, including a crucial detail, that one of the men had been carrying a soft guitar case. That helped prison officials confirm it was the escapees, as Sweat had kept a guitar in his cell, and they believed he might be carrying tools and clothes inside its case. But by then, the men were gone. Dannemora and surrounding communities were swarmed with state police and corrections officers, and roads were clogged with roadblocks and security checkpoints.
We would have to stop. They would have to search everything, search the vehicle.
Emma Wood was 4 years old in June of 2015. Now she's 14. Her family lives in Peru, but attends the Dannemora Methodist Church. She remembers going through checkpoints to work on her family's garden plot at the church. According to her mom, that experience made such an impression, she carried it into her play.
So I played with Barbies a lot, and she said that occasionally she would catch me after that playing checkpoint with my Barbies. So they'd be in their car, they'd be stopped by a Barbie, they'd get searched, and then they could keep going. Apparently I called it prison escape.
Nearly 1,000 law enforcement officers and agencies including the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, and Customs and Border Protection fanned out far beyond Dannemora to the Adirondacks, the Champlain Valley, and the Vermont and Canadian borders. Claire Brownell was a junior at Potsdam's high school at the time. The weekend Matt and Sweat escaped, she was attending a Rotary Youth Conference at Paul Smith's college. She remembers being told about the escape by school officials.
Sort of just letting us know when we went back to our dorm rooms to, make sure the windows were locked and maybe to check our closets and maybe check under our beds.
Brownell says everyone was calm, so she didn't think much of it.
I knew about Dannemora, but not really. I just thought, okay, it's a regular prison. They just got out.
Paul Smith's was also used to house police officers and other personnel during the manhunt. So was Titus Mountain, the ski resort outside Malone. The days and then weeks dragged on. Area schools tightened security and stopped recess. Some visitors canceled their vacation plans in the area. Summer camps were fielding calls from worried parents.
People were on high alert, and we were just being should we run? Should we cancel?
In 2015, Casey Suchforth was the summer camp director of 4-H Camp Overlook in Mountain View. Camp was supposed to start on July 1st, but she says they had no idea if that would be possible.
It was just not what you expect when you're running a summer camp. I mean, they always say, you expect the unexpected, but you don't expect escaped convicts in your backyard as you're trying to plan, arts and crafts activities.
Then, on June 22nd, the men's DNA was found in a cabin near Owl's Head in Franklin County, which was pretty close to Camp Overlook. Matt and Sweat had walked nearly 40 miles from Dannemora towards Malone. Suchforth says that's when the state police took over Camp Overlook, which she says was actually pretty comforting.
4 or 5 days, they stayed there with the police dogs because they couldn't stay in the local hotels. As a courtesy to us, they swept camp every night, and all the buildings.
Marvin Rayville also started seeing a lot of the state police near the end of June. He lives on Route 30 in Duane, just south of Malone, and the manhunt for Matt Sweat heated up in his front yard, literally.
It was solid with cars, state trooper cars, all up and down right here. They knew that he was right in this area.
Rayville says he let the state police use his bathroom and post up on his deck.
The last 2 nights, I had state troopers stayed right here, right up on the deck. And they had spotlights out by then. This was his last stand, here.
On June 26th, Richard Matt was shot and killed in the woods not far from Rayville's home. Rayville remembers helicopters landing in his yard. He says that scene is burned into his memory, and it stayed with law enforcement, too.
State troopers stop even now. I mean, they'll just about every year take pictures and give me thumbs up.
2 days later, David Sweat was shot and taken into custody, also near Malone. And just as quickly as life went sideways in northern New York, it mostly went back to normal. The state police went back to their regular posts. Camp Overlook opened on July 1st. But Casey Sukforth, the Camp Overlook director, says no one forgot what had happened.
That's how I can tell people we're here at the North Country, because when you say it, they're like, instantly know. And this is what I was doing, and this is, what I couldn't do. And it was almost like, a mini COVID or a mini lockdown where it kind of just shifted the course just a little bit of what we do and what we remember.
She says the escape and the search that followed are a matter of collective memory. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
Thanks for listening to The Frequency today. We had additional reporting from Lexi Krupp, Nathaniel Wilson, and Adia Golston. Today's episode was edited by Liam Elder Connors, and our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. I'm off for the next few days, but The Frequency will still be coming your way, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you were going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.